All right, and we are live on with Ameer Rosic of Block Geeks, prominent YouTuber, and also takes care of Block Geeks, which is a cryptocurrency sort of platform space. Ameer is a guy that I've relied on now for the last few years when it comes to talking about this new economy and where we're going. And I want to continue to update you guys on what's happening here because I know there's a lot of relevant questions that come up, and I don't have the answers to stuff like that. So, Ameer, what's up, brother?
Not much, man. How you been?
My brother, we just did a broadcast on your channel. We're kind of rapping back and forth about politics, political correctness.
Well, see, we're efficient, right?
Yeah.
If it was in government, they'd be like, all right, we need to contact your assistant, my assistant, lawyers, make sure everything's good. And then next year we'll rebook.
It would have taken a while. It would have taken months possibly to do that. But we're going to get this done in less than 2 hours because we fucking rule. All right, my brothers from another mother. We're going to be taking some questions on this one towards the end. We last talked a couple months ago. So what's been happening in the cryptocurrency space? Like, what are the big changes, any announcements, anything that's a big aha for you recently?
The biggest announcement so far is the SEC, Securities Commission. They came out publicly and stated that Ethereum is not a securities. It's a commodity.
That's a good acknowledgement.
Yeah, but also on the flip side, there's a double-edged sword for this. Then, for the most part, most ERC-20s, so the tokens built on top of Ethereum, for the most part, 99% of them will be a securities. They didn't publicly say that, but if you look at the logic saying that Ethereum isn't a securities, it's a commodity, and therefore everything built on top of it, for the most part, could be deemed securities. And so that's kind of like the biggest thing that came out in the last, like, say, 2-3 months. And the whole marketplace has been very interesting. I'm quite happy, actually. It's a bear market right now. This is a true...
I just picked up some more crypto 2 weeks ago, man. I just keep grabbing it whenever I feel like it's necessary.
Bitcoin, Monero, Zcash, Ethereum.
And I'm not just holding it too. Like I'm making a conscious effort to spend it and throw it back into the economy. So if I go to a website that offers a 25% discount to buy with Litecoin or Bitcoin, I'll buy it. Like, I'm not going to sit on it and hold on to it. Like, I want to move it around, right?
Of course. And, you know, we're in an interesting time right now where there's a second layer scaling solution for Bitcoin called Lightning. And they've been working on this for a while. And we still
They've been talking about that since December-ish, I think, when I started to hear about it first.
They've been working about that way before that. But we have, I think, more than like 1,300 nodes operating right now and still in the early stages. But it's a very promising technology. And once they have ironed out the kinks and evolved the tech a little bit better, then you and I will have instant Bitcoin payments. I mean, literally fucking higher than Visa level transaction instant payments.
Okay, so they were talking about Visa processing, I don't know, whatever it was. It was like hundreds of thousands of payments per second or something like that. And the biggest problem with the blockchain for Bitcoin was it's just too slow. I remember when I was moving money from like an exchange to a wallet, for example, there was one point where it took like, I don't know, 45 minutes. And it's like, okay, that's not really scalable. Like, are we talking about payment transactions with something like Bitcoin and the Lightning Network taking like less than a second now?
Instant. So for example, like let me grab this thing here. Okay, this is a perfect example. So if we're looking at this right now, say that's Bitcoin, the base right here. Right? So Lightning Network is a second layer technology built on top of Bitcoin. And what's great about this, it doesn't have to per se rely on Bitcoin for every transaction. All the transactions are done on the Lightning Network. So these transactions are instant. And so if I'm like on Amazon, or if I'm on your store and you're selling me a shirt or something for like whatever, like $5 worth of Bitcoin, once I send you the Bitcoin, it's not waiting 2 seconds or 3 seconds. It's literally instant. You get it that second.
Got it. Got it. And as far as the Ethereum change, what does that mean for Ethereum? You know, with the SEC not recognizing it as a security.
When more people become bullish on it, now they know it's not a securities. So now more firms, whether that is hedge funds, VC funds, or just private equity funds, will start pouring money into it. But Ethereum has a big day either this year or next year. I'm not too sure exactly the date of it, where they're going to be switching over to the new consensus mechanism. So for right now, Bitcoin and Ethereum are proof of work, which is you have miners, so these big graphic cards like ASICs, which do computational guesswork to support the network. That's how Bitcoin and Ethereum work right now. But Ethereum wants to leave that system where they don't rely on big manufacturers that own these graphic cards, and they want to switch over to a proof of stake mechanism. So it's virtual mining where Richard and Ameer, they can put up money. So we'll put up Ether into this contract online, and that's how the network is supported. There's a lot of people criticizing it, which I acknowledge him for that. And I think criticism is very valuable in the space because there's a lot of people who are just too optimistic. I think that both sides are needed. You have to be a pessimist and you have to be an optimist. And it's a very interesting experiment that they're going to run. So I'm not too sure exactly the timeline for that, but that's going to be the next big moment for the light. I would say the longevity of Ethereum.
What's the deal with mining? I mean, I had my IT guy set up my PC because I got a pretty heavy duty graphics card for video editing
Yes.
and stuff. And it's almost like the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Like
Oh, it's not.
the
For
amount
real,
of time you're
it's
running
not.
it, plus the electricity and maybe the wear and tear on the equipment, like the fans and shit. It doesn't seem like mining makes a lot of sense. I mean, there's a lot of guys that back in December were just buying mining equipment like crazy. I mean, if
Unless
people are
unless unless you're investing a significant amount of money and you have so the thing with mining is very competitive in a couple of aspects. Competitive, what's the price you get the cards at? Most cards have a 6-month shelf life, so you have to constantly get new cards. What is the electricity cost? Like it's becoming very competitive where people are only paying roughly 3 cents a kilowatt right now. What is the cost of renting all this stuff? What is the cost of cooling all this stuff, right? The hydro cost, etc. And so unless you have deep domain expertise in this area and connection to cheap cards that you can constantly get and have initial capital of millions of dollars, it's not really worth it. It's like
who's doing all the mining to verify all these transactions right now? Because as the blockchain grows and we need more people to verify shit for transactions, like you have to have people that are incentivized to do that.
well,
Right now, there doesn't seem
for
to have.
Bitcoin, it's pretty much China.
Okay.
But more and more now, see, the thing is, for the most part, there's only.
But didn't China change something in the last few months with mining? Like, didn't they shut down mining rigs or something like that?
They're changing
What happened there?
rules with ICOs. Anytime they're trying to say something publicly, they're doing the exact same thing behind closed doors. They just want to have a competitive edge over everybody else. And so, in fact, mining's becoming even more competitive right now because more and more manufacturers are coming out. So let me kind of put this into context. There's only about 1 or 2 big players for the longest period of time creating these very specific cards to mine Bitcoin and other, let's say like Monero, Zcash, etc. And so they had a monopoly. They dictated who can buy from them. They obviously use their own cards, so they controlled it. There was a cartel. Now what's happening, more and more companies like Samsung, I think even Intel was talking about some stuff, they're coming out with their own variations of these cards. And so now you're going to have more optionality. It's going to become way more competitive. The price will decrease to purchase these cards. And so I think more and more, I think we'll see in the future more opportunity for people to actually enter the mining game as opposed to now, because it's way too capital intensive right now to enter it.
Got it. Do me a favor, bro. I'm just checking. Do you have your camera on? I'm not sure if people can see you because I just checked on my other screen. It looks like it's just me.
Oh shit, it is. I see on my end.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
1 second.
Can you guys see us? Can you just let us know in the chat if you're seeing both of us when we chat?
Turn on.
Yeah, I just see. Like 70 people. Okay, maybe it is working. I'm just not seeing it on my live screen.
Yeah.
Whatever. YouTube.
God damn it.
I'm here. All right. No, Dan says he can't see it. Anyway, no.
Weird.
No, it's just me that's being shown right now. Hang on. Let me see if there's something I got to do.
Some setting, yeah. Let's see my end.
Hide from broadcast. I don't want to do that. Mute.
Pro stream camera. Yeah, sure. Default
That's
microphone.
all right. You guys just have to see my ugly face on this one. We're not going to go for too long, so I won't pain you that much. I just wanted to do some updates with them. So what else has been going on that people should know about when it comes to the crypto space?
Listen, at the end of the day, invest what you can afford to lose. It's simple as that. We are still very, very, very early in the space. Like we're in the Netscape time era. If you're comparing, the timelines, and for the most part, like don't be allured into all these ICOs. For the most part, majority of these ICOs are complete joke.
Yeah, like you're really outspoken when it comes to ICOs. Like, why do you hate them so much?
I don't per se hate them. I think they are a very interesting model to raise capital. I think how they are conducted and how they communicate and position themselves is what I don't like. And so for the most part, most of these ICOs, they don't have a problem they're going afterwards. It's some most obscure things they want to solve, which there's nobody cares about. 2, they have no business model to begin with. 3, they're betting on the technology, which we're years away from scaling properly. And 4, for the most part, how they actually structure their token. So who owns the token, the governance of the token, out of the percentage of total token supply, how much do the founders get, how much does the foundation get. It's obscene. Like I've seen deals where ICOs offer up to 400% discount on tokens to large investors and whale groups, where they would buy this token, and then literally 3 months later, these whale groups will dump the token. So imagine like if you get a 400% discount on like on a dollar, like you're getting free money. Like right now, they're literally a printing press. And so like I look at, there's very few teams that I respect in this space and very few teams that are actually building legitimate products and solutions in this whole ecosystem.
And who would those teams be?
Let's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Monero, Zcash. If we're looking on top of Ethereum, like 0x, Aragon, MakerDAO. These are just top of my mind. There's other ones. Decentralized network like Kyber Network's very interesting. Loom Network is doing some cool stuff. Like these are just fresh on my mind, but there's a bunch of other ones.
Yeah. One of the limiting problems that I see with it, I mean, I'm on CoinMarketCap right now, and there's 1,596 cryptocurrencies. Does that include all tokens?
Yes.
So like that's confusing as fuck, because for mass adoption to happen, you've got to make it simple. You got to make access to it like simple. It's got to be like Facebook. Like when Facebook came out, a lot of older people were like, I don't really need that, and then they realize all they have to do is do like 2 things to sign up for it, and then they can connect with all their friends, and it's easy peasy sort of thing. So I don't like the token from like the basic bitch approach, like the lens that I'm using, because I'm not as technical as you are when it comes to stuff like this. It's just way too complicated. I don't think it'll ever be adopted if you have that many tokens and currencies.
It won't be. It's as simple as that. It just won't be.
Got a question here. I guess is how do you feel about the Chinese coins, Neo, ONT, WTC, etc.?
Neo, yeah. So Neo they're trying to position that as the Ethereum version of China. They're doing some interesting stuff. Like for me,
is Neo the one that Brock is involved with, or is that EOS?
That was EOS, but they took him down from everything. So he has officially no. Let's put it this way: officially, he has no connection with EOS currently.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Did he take his war chest with him?
Probably. Is liquid. Like EOS was liquid for a while. They did a 1 year long ICO, which in my mind is ridiculous, but whatever. Okay. And they had the worst launch ever. Like the shit show that's happening in EOS right now, it's crazy. Like fuck, man.
Interesting. Okay.
But whatever, it's one big experiment. You know, it's no one to blame over here. Investors want to invest and lose money. You lose money, right? Like
how's that experiment going for him in Puerto Rico? Like he was talking about creating this entire like city.
When I hear about that stuff, I don't know, man. I have no idea. It's altruistic. Like I'm gonna go help the Puerto Rican people. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I met the guy a couple of times. Interesting person. I don't want to speak ill of him because I don't have really nothing to speak ill about of him. I think he has cool ideas, and if he can pull off what he wants to pull off, all the power to him.
Who are you really watching in the space that has legs, or that you feel anyway?
Elizabeth Stark from Lightning Labs, obviously Vitalik. The Bitcoin core team, what they're doing.
Lightning Labs is a developer for Bitcoin for the Lightning Network?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Will and Ameer from 0x Protocol, they're doing very interesting stuff. Joey from Augur, even Jimmy Song from Bitcoin core developer. Ethan Buckman from Cosmos. Like there's a bunch of people, but there's I'll say handful, like a good solid 15 people they just really know their shit and building legitimate projects.
What do you say to the crackdown comment? Somebody said in the comments here, there's going to be a big crackdown. That's something I said to you years ago. And I mean, like we still see them taking jabs at it. We still see them trying to regulate it. And of course it's a big threat. I mean, anytime you create a new form of currency that moves people away from,
there's going to be more crackdowns. The biggest weakest point in the crypto space right now are decentralized exchanges. Like for example, the other day an exchange got hacked for $30 million, and we'll see much more of these exchanges get hacked because the security is very weak. And it's very easy for governments to go to these regulated exchanges that have billions of dollars and have, say hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars of liquidity and users on board. Like, hey, we're shutting you down because of X, right? And so that's a big danger in the crypto space right now. That's why I'm very bullish on decentralized exchanges like 0x, like Kyber Network, where there is no center point of failure. And so, yeah, we're going to have a long process of FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And governments will try to put a stop to it. But I also see we talked about this earlier. I also see that small jurisdictions, like for example, Malta, Gibraltar, Singapore, Hong Kong, they're pretty much opening up their arms, like, hey, come over here instead, because well, A, they get business, B, they get a spotlight in the global economy, and they invite entrepreneurs and startups to build there.
What about Tether? What do you think of that?
It's a stable coin. Like, you're not using it to invest. People use Tether to go in and out of crypto. And that's a very competitive space right now. There's, I would say, like 4 or 5 major projects trying to create a stable coin. You have MakerDAO, you have TrueUSD, you have Basis, you have Clio, another one. And all these people, they're trying to figure out how to create a cryptocurrency that's stable. And so it's a very interesting experiment. I'm not too sure who's going to win. I think it's a winner take all in this circumstance.
Is it absolutely necessary to have a Tether on the marketplace where it's like a 1-to-1 ratio? Because for those of you that are watching that don't know what Tether is, it's basically pinned to the US dollar. So one US dollar equals one Tether.
It should be, but it's not.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that have poked at that. So
yeah,
like,
it's necessary. We need these stable coins for exchanges, and a lot of these stable coins also are needed for token economies internally. Because let's say like you create this token economy, this ecosystem, let's say the new Facebook, and you have a set price for certain tasks in there, like X, this item costs X, this transaction costs X. Imagine having a volatility every single day where the price goes up or down. You can't have that within an ecosystem. So it's necessary that you have a pegging within an ecosystem to keep the price stable.
But they seem to have kind of like figured that out with payments, because I notice if I go to a site and I order something with Bitcoin, for example,
because everything's pegged in the USD. That's why.
Well, what it does is it says, this is the price for the next, whatever it is, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And after that, it's going to change, sort of thing. So you have to transfer the money from your wallet. So it's almost like, I don't know. It seems to me like it's almost unnecessary, but I get what you're saying. Yeah. Let me just go in the questions over here. Guys, keep throwing your questions in the comments if you want to throw anything at Ameer. We've only got him for a little bit. So diversify. What do you think about Binance Coin?
I think it's an interesting model where you actually get returns on future cash flow projections on Binance. I think Binance has done one of the best token models I've seen out there. I'm very bullish on what they're doing, and they kind of give the middle finger to the governments around the world, and like, fuck it, we're just gonna go build new models. And he's kind of like the Uber, he's like the Travis of Asia. That's his type of attitude.
Somebody said in the comments, how safe is Tether from getting shut down? I mean, any one of these currencies can disappear tomorrow.
Pretty much. They can get hacked. Majority of these currencies have really bad security protocols. In fact, on the side, like what we do at Block Geeks with our blockchain engineers is like, we like to break these smart contract codes. Just the other day, we broke one. So like I said, we're very early in experimental stages. Like if I'm a big, let's say, institutional investor, or if I have family money from a lot of different family offices around the world, I wouldn't be investing in all these tokens. Like if I'm looking at it as a hedge fund, like high risk, maybe like 1 to 5% of my portfolio will be in high liquidity, high risk tokens where I'm willing to lose that. That's how risk averse I am. And then the rest would be like short-term holds, long-term holds, kind of doing the daily arbitrage, weekly arbitrage, and what's kind of big is geo arbitrage. And so basically I'd be like in Bitcoin, Ether, Bitcoin Cash, a little bit more of the stable ones that I know have better legs on them.
So, I mean, you kind of brushed over it, but this has come up a few times in the comments, is what cryptos you recommend for first timers to kind of keep it simple? I mean, there's still, what is it called? Coinbase?
Yes.
Yeah. So I've got a link in the description of all my videos for Coinbase. You sign up, you get $10 worth of free crypto when you do it. But the problem is you pay with your credit card, but you're paying daily interest in Canada now anyway, because they charge it as a cash advance on your credit card. So, I mean, it's somewhat prohibitive to kind of get into, but let's set that aside for a minute. But as far as the easy ones to kind of like pick out as a first timer or somebody that wants to get into it, like we're still talking Bitcoin, Ethereum,
Ethereum, but yeah, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, Monero, Zcash, like those are just simple ones to keep.
You've been talking about Monero and Zcash a lot to me.
Yeah.
Whenever we chat, whether it's online or offline. Why do you like the privacy coins? Like, why do you think it's got legs?
They're needed. A, they're needed. B, they have amazing dev teams. Like if we're looking at where devs are going, they focus on privacy coins, and that's where the technology is. Like if we're, the word cryptocurrency, cryptography, like that's the ethos of the word. And
Hmm.
so like majority of these tokens are not really secure or private. And so if we're looking at like, why are we even in this in the first place? Like, why did I enter, the blockchain crypto world is because of what Bitcoin promised, right? Being a peer-to-peer, right?
Hmm.
Permissionless system where I don't need permission to send Richard money. I don't need permission from an exchange to buy Bitcoin. That's why I find like centralized exchange an oxymoron. It's like, oh, we'll give you permission to buy this decentralized currency. Like, give me a fucking break, right?
Hmm.
And so peer-to-peer, and what these privacy coins do is Bitcoin's it's synonymous. It's not really private per se. And so like Monero and Zcash, they're by default private. And so
Got it.
that's really important. By default, they're private.
And I don't see options to pay with privacy coins right now, though. Like when I'm on sites and purchasing stuff with crypto, is that something that's coming down the road, or like what's
Yeah,
the
it's
point
it's
of that?
very difficult right now, and this is why a lot of, let's say, mobile wallets don't really have Monero Zcash because it is
Mm.
difficult to integrate. But I think more and more as the ecosystem grows, specifically with like decentralized exchanges and even like decentralized Amazons like OpenBazaar or Purse.io, we'll see more and more of these, let's say, ecosystems and protocols start accepting Zcash and Monero.
Decentralized exchanges. When do you think they'll be ready?
Oh God, 2 years probably. Yeah, something like that.
Still a while off, eh?
Yeah.
So for the time being, I mean, you do you do you still recommend people keep it on like a nano ledger or something like that, like a
Nano
paper
Ledger,
wallet?
man. Like I keep my stuff offline as much as possible. Do I have it on me? I think I do. Like this little guy, it's like $100.
Yeah.
Keep it on, just keep it offline. It's okay if you have a couple $100 online, whatever. But if you're buying a significant amount of different cryptos, I would say keep it offline. Um, Also, if you're buying large amounts of crypto, don't buy it through exchanges. There's OTC brokers. Like if you want to buy anything like north of maybe like 50, $60,000, I don't really recommend going through a centralized exchange and doing wire transfer.
Why is
Uh,
that?
for the most part, A, you can get actually cheaper rates with OTCs as opposed to exchanges, and B, just
So what
wait.
would you recommend as an OTC exchange?
One of my favorite OT exchange is Cumberland Mining. They're one of the
And
best.
how do you buy through them? Like you just transfer them 50 grand and you
No,
say
you
throw it in?
sign up. Like so you can go to their website. You sign up. There's a paper over there. They
Mm.
vet everybody. They're all legit. They want to make sure they're not obviously funneling drug money or any of that shit. They're a legit outfit,
Mhm.
and if they accept you, it's super fucking easy, man. Like most of these central exchanges, and nothing to these central exchanges. That's how they have to do because they're regulated. Is like the KYC craziness, the AML, the wire transfer takes 7 days. It's like fuck, man. I need to buy 50K today, not 7 days from now.
Mm. Yeah. Interesting. Here's a question. What is Amir's prediction for 2018 crypto by December? So December 2017 had a big run up. What do you think things are going to look like by the end of this year?
I don't do price predictions. I'm not a trader. I don't do TA, so that's technical analysis. I think 2018 will remain a bear market, and I
Hmm.
think 2019 we're going to be in a bull market.
Yeah. Somebody said here, uphold a good alternative to Coinbase. If you're in Canada, that'd probably be Quadriga. If you're going to buy not a large amount.
Yeah. Or
In the States,
Binance, like if you
Binance.
can,
Yeah.
yeah, if you go OTC and buy Bitcoin or Ether, just put it on Binance, and they have one of the best UX systems I've seen out there.
Yeah. There's a question here that says, Richard, what are your views on crypto? And I mean, I've maintained the same views that I've upheld since later on last year. I mean, originally when Amir and I met a few years ago, he's like, I'm going all in on crypto, man. I'm doing this. I'm like, you're fucking crazy. I'm you remember that shit? We were
Yeah,
having lunch. I'm like, man, you're crazy.
I'm
Um,
crazy, bro.
and it took me a while to get it, but when I finally got it and I saw what the blockchain can do, and it's not just the currencies themselves, but what it can do, like what it's capable of, and all the problems that it solves. It
Mhm.
literally solves almost all the problems that we have right now on the financial marketplace with centralized control of currency, money, interest, lending, asking for permission for shit.
Or at
Um,
least the decentralized protocols are like the tokens for the most part aren't. They're pretty centralized.
mhm.
But like the Bitcoins, the Moneros, the Zcash, the
Yeah.
Ethereums, Ethereum Classics, these are the ones that what you speak about there, that's what they represent. But the tokens, the ICOs, they're not that.
Yeah, they're very centralized still. Like,
Yes.
somebody mentioned XRP, which is Ripple, I think, right?
Oh, Ripple controls everything. They can
Yeah,
turn
like
it off,
Ripple's.
turn off Ripple and turn off anytime they want. Turn it on
Yeah,
and off. Yeah.
it's fully centralized. So, my take on it is stay with the decentralized ones. That I mean, like Bitcoin's on a network now, from what I understand from Antonopoulos, that can't be hacked. Like, there's not enough computer power in the world to
It's the
basically.
strongest network on the planet.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can't say that about the financial markets and what led up to 2008. You just can't. It just doesn't exist.
Like fuck,
There's
but
too
just
much
even look at
going on.
like Equifax, man. Like shit, they have everyone's SIN and says social security numbers. Like people
Yep.
don't understand how much of a big deal that is. If someone gets your SIN number, you're fucked, man. If they're nefarious, they're gonna completely use your SIN number to take credit out on that, to create fake identities, and
Yep.
to fuck you over, man. And I'm very interested to see how many people are actually going to be affected by these two hacks from Equifax in the next couple of years.
Yeah. There's actually a documentary on Netflix. I can't remember what it's called right now, but they basically examine the privacy of Facebook and Google, and how they basically know everything about everybody. And I'm not a fan of that. Like, I got to be honest, it's one of the reasons why I rarely post anything personally to Facebook. Like, I use it mostly to stay in touch with my community. And even then, I'm moving my community off of a social platform to a private website that I'm building, because I don't want Zuck looking at the shit we're talking about, or having the option to say you're cut off from your people, sort of thing. So yeah, like
That's
I'm
why
a big.
I've been pushing in the blockchain space. It's a golden opportunity for someone to kind of go out there and create, whether it's a new YouTube or new social platform.
Well,
Um,
there's that one Steam, right? But that's
nah,
kind of useless.
useless, bro.
Yeah, like I've seen a lot of people go, "Why don't you post your shit to Steam?" And it's like, I've looked at it; it just doesn't make sense to me. It's not, it's not efficient, and people aren't there anyway.
No, man, it's a pump and dump scheme. That's all Steam is right now.
Yeah.
It's a good first generation pioneer platform, but like I'm waiting for like the third, fourth generation where they actually build it legitimately.
You see anything on the horizon on a social platform like
I
that
don't
where
know.
it's decentralized?
Props is doing some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
They got Casey Neistat as one of their, I think, investors and advisors as well. But still, it's nothing like Facebook or YouTube, man. It's very hard to. The thing with YouTube is like you have search volume, Google owns it. The user base is over here. It's really fuck. I find it's going to be very difficult to dethrone YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people have taken a stab at it. There's been a lot that have come and gone.
Yep.
What was that one? VidMe. That was one
VidMe, yeah.
that picked up a lot of creators and some views, and then they just shut it down because they couldn't
What's
make
the
it
other
work.
one? Gabby.
Oh, D2, BitChute, something shoot. I don't know.
Have you tried Gabby? I heard that one. Gabby
No,
something.
no, I haven't checked it out. I mean, there's
Gabby
nothing
AI.
obvious out there right now. Like, still the best place to get discovered when you're creating content and having these sorts of conversations is still going to be YouTube, and that's not going to change for a while.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it's going to come and it's going to disrupt the marketplace. Like, I mean, Facebook took out MySpace, sort of thing. So you'll see it. It just hasn't become obvious yet. Gab,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Gab.ai is what somebody said in the comments.
Yeah, I heard some stuff about it. I haven't really checked it out yet, to tell you the
It's
truth.
I think Gab is basically like the uncensored Twitter, if
Oh,
I'm
it's
not mistaken.
Twitter.
Yeah, it's basically like a microblogging site, sort of
Okay.
thing. Um,
Gotcha.
but yeah, VidMe went bankrupt, somebody said. All right, if you guys have any more questions, probably going to wrap this up in a few more minutes. Just post them in the comments real quick. Anything else you want to kind of like dump on the younglings? Any kind of like wisdom pieces that they need to hear?
Yeah, study Austrian economics. Economics in One Simple Lesson, I believe, is a book called, is like the best book possible. Economics in One Lesson, I believe.
Yeah.
Let me double check. Yeah, it's Economics in One Lesson
And who's the
by
author?
Henry Hazlitt.
Henry
It's
Hazlitt.
like hands down the best, simplest book for understanding Austrian economics. Like it takes stuff from Mises, takes stuff from Friedman, Hayek, etc. Just this, it puts everything in nice, tangible order to read. I recommend it to everybody.
Yeah, and guys, don't be like, dazzled by shiny objects. Some guy comes along and says, "Oh, there's this ICO coming out. You should buy these coins. You're going to buy, Lambo money to the moon," sort of shit. I've seen that over and over again, and I tend to agree with Amir. It's like, stick with the proven shit that.
You know how many people are getting wrecked right now in this bear market? How many people I know are just losing everything they had? They bought like, I got it for cheap. I'm like, you bought it to high. Look at, you're down like fucking 60%.
Yeah. It's true, man. It's true. All right. When's a good time to get into crypto again, Amir? Like now?
Now. What's the saying? Best
What's
time
the best
to plan
time? Tree?
Yeah.
Now or 20 years ago.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks a lot for. Oh, hang on. One last question here. I like this one. Better for a young guy to build a business first before playing with crypto.
It's always better to invest in yourself and have a skill set and knowledge and experience, hands down. Because let's say crypto disappears tomorrow, you have the knowledge and skill set. You can go anywhere in the world. This is why I really like what Thomas Sowell talks about, and why socialism doesn't really work. It goes down to power laws and intellectual capital. And this is why it's shown, statistically speaking, people who've made millions of dollars who then go bankrupt make it twice as fast as it did originally, because they already have the blueprint, they have the network, they have experience, they've been there, they've done that. And so the whole idea of like, oh, okay, let's distribute wealth through everybody. Well, guess what? Because I have intellectual capital experience of creating wealth, I'm just going to make it back. Mm-hmm. You won't, right? And so like the best investment, and Warren Buffett talks about his best investment was $500 in Toastmasters, I believe. Invest in yourself, get the skill set. Even if you don't succeed in business, like who gives a fuck, man? Like the very notion and act of you going through the process, like this is education that you can't buy, and you can take that knowledge with you anywhere in the world you go.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree. I do some private equity investing, and I lost a big amount of money on a deal, over 50 grand. And it was probably the best lesson that I ever didn't want to pay for, but, don't lose, you learn, like it is what it is. You try to figure it out. All right, man. Thanks for hopping on and having a chat. We'll do it again soon. Thanks everybody for participating in the chat, and make sure you hit notifications, smash the like button, and leave a comment. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Peace.